Greetings from Leiden University. My name is Tom Liefvaart and I'm the UNICEF Chair in Children's Rights at Leiden Law School. In 2015, we founded the Advanced Master of Laws program in International Children's Rights, a small-scale program entirely devoted to the international field of law, children's rights. 2025 marks the 10th anniversary of this unique program. And that is an excellent opportunity to revisit our former students and to reconnect our alumni and to see how they look back at their year of studies with us and what they are doing now. Today, I have the pleasure of reconnecting to Lisa. Lisa, wonderful to see you again. Could you briefly introduce yourself?
My name is Lisa Achien'g Odhiambo, and I come from Kenya. I graduated in the class of 2023, and I can say I'm actually a proud alumni of Leiden University.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. And 2023 it was indeed. Could you take us back to your to the first steps in your program? What were your first impressions when you now think back of your first steps?
I think my first impression, right from the onset, I was just hit by the diversity, the diversity in the classroom, because here I was, sitting in a room, full of people, full of students from of different nationalities, different backgrounds, very different, lived experiences, lived life experiences. And in my mind was that each person was going to be bringing, something unique, a unique perspective, to the class and in this of child rights and just life in general. So my first thought was actually that was the opportunity for me to actually, to learn, to grow and even share my own experiences from my own country. So it was actually a chance for me to just, wear the lenses of others, to see the world, from their own perspective, how like it's shaped, the different cultures and contexts. And I actually really appreciated, like right from the word go when we were being given the course instruction and everything, you could tell they were actually mixed, teaching methodologies and, technologies, because we had like guest lectures, we had the monthly meeting series. And then I also remember we had like those classes that we attended in the field, like we attended at the ICC, we attended at the HCCH, And then also notable for me was the trip in Geneva to actually see the CRC committee actually, in progress. We got to see one of the countries that was reporting. And like, that was just like, just watching that process, unfold live was just nothing short of actually incredible. And also the other thing, I felt like we were having conversations with our lecturers, I felt like they gave me that opportunity, to be myself and to actually not be afraid, to ask questions, to share what I thought, to share my experiences and to ask those questions. And I never like, somebody might think like my question is a stupid question, but there was never that. And I also felt like the lecturers and just the entire team in the course was very, very approachable. Because I remember I could approach my lecturers, I could approach the coordinator, that was Esther. She was just very friendly and she was actually there to, to steer me and to guide me. And at a time whereby you could feel that, it was very easy, you're away from home, you're in a different country, you miss home, it's easy to actually fall homesick and, get depressed. I didn't actually suffer from that. Because like that entire experience, just the lecturers and the entire teaching fraternity was very accommodative, very approachable and very friendly.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for sharing that all. So your first impression was related to the diversity of the class, but later on, also, I think the diversity of the teaching methodology and the interaction you have had with the team, underscoring also the importance of having a whole team of lecturers and other staff members like Esther, for example, right? So thank you so much for also referring to the team. Was there, Lisa, one specific moment that basically defined your learning experience at Leiden? Was there one class, one moment, one element that you would like to bring up?
I think for me, I had very many defining moments. And why I say that is because I remember when I was coming to the course, I had this very limited knowledge. And right from the onset, I was just like, for me, I'm just coming and off the course, I will specialize in this particular area. of child rights, I was going to specialize in refugee law. But then when I joined the course during the introductory classes, I figured that there were so many elements, when it comes to child rights. It was very diverse, it was very broad, and there was so much more into it. And I feel like that is actually what has shaped where I am now, because I find myself working in a space that is looking more into child protection in the context of CSE, and then also now into like PFM and child budgeting, something I never thought I would do. So I felt like those were defining moments, which have actually helped define where I am even today in my career.
Nice. Yeah, very nice to hear. Could you elaborate a bit on that? So what is your current role and how are you using the knowledge? Because you already referred to child budgeting, for example. So could you tell us a bit more about that?
So actually, right after the LLM course, I can say like I was very lucky because I did not have to like apply or tarmac for long for a job. Because right off the course, the organization that I was interning with while I was doing my LLM, that is the Children's Rights Challenge Foundation, which is actually in the Netherlands, requested me, they asked me if I would like to actually get a role with them and stay working with them. And that is something that I was very glad to be doing. And you see, like, because for the Children's Rights Challenge Foundation, what essentially we deal more of is like child sexual exploitation. Because key to them is actually strengthening, the support, the compensation and legislative advocacy for survivors of child sexual exploitation. And most of our work actually involves, strategic litigation, whereby we support various organizations in different countries to undertake strategic litigations in the line of child sexual exploitation. So you see, right from the onset, I was actually involved in that. And that is something that for strategic litigation, I actually picked it up in one of our classes, and that was a class by Professor Anne Skelton, because she actually took us, in-depthly through strategic litigation. And then here I am now working with an organization that is actually dealing in strategic litigation for child sexual exploitation. So that is actually one. And then now after that, I was actually able to get the opportunity. They allowed me to work remotely from Kenya. And then now coming to Kenya, I found myself in an organization, a civil society organization, known as the Institute for Social Accountability, which actually I'm working in their pillar known as the Public Accountability Pillar. I'm in the programs department there. And you see, for like this organization, better known as TISA is more about empowering citizens in Kenya to hold the government accountable. So when I joined them, I wasn't quite sure that I fit in. And I remember bringing it up with our ED. I was like, why did you pick me? There were very many people, but why me? And she told me, I looked at your background and everything. There's something that you actually bring to the table. And like just moving forward and moving along, I actually did realize that yes, there's something I bring to the table, especially in the aspect of child rights. Because currently, any question that relates to children, they bring it to me. Because remember, as TISA, we actually are keen on, public finance management. We're keen on issues to do with taxation. We're keen on issues to do with social protection. We are keen on also issues to do with the debt burden for Kenya. And you see, we have been very keen on championing for like increased budgets for the education sector. And you see, in that particular aspect, it is actually children involved. And for us, it has been keen, particularly been looking at the early child development education. Because remember, that is actually the foundation for education for children and actually sustainable development in the future. So we've actually been actively championing for that. And I get to be part of that team that is actually championing for that. So for me, that is actually key. This year, I was able to actually advocate for my organization to actually be represented in the People's Dialogue Festival here in Kenya. It's a festival that is held yearly, and they have various villages, whereby they have the youth village, they have a village that deals with matters to do with children, child rights, which is known as the Nisisi Nisasa village. Nisisi Nisasa means like it is us now and in this moment, and it's our child rights. It deals with children rights. And I was actually able to get us a slot to be part of that particular village. So for me, that was actually very key. And then also how I continue to apply my knowledge is the fact that when I joined, we're not directly dealing with children. In as much as we're advocating for increased education, we don't deal directly with them. But I was able to take up a proposal alongside with our head of programs, because he's also a child's rights advocate. We came up with these suggestions to our ED and managed to convince her to allow us to submit a proposal to UNICEF. And in that particular proposal, we actually want to look at budget accountability for children and actually enforcing Article 12 of the CRC, because we want to amplify children's voices, through meaningful public participation. So we did that proposal, and we do hope that UNICEF will consider it, and then hopefully we'll get to work on that. And then also, I think alongside that, because normally my organization has been vocal about the Finance Act in Kenya, about issues to do with PFM. So we normally get invited, to be able to submit our proposals on what we think about the current budgets and everything. And we've gotten that opportunity to actually go before, the Treasury here, go before Parliament to actually submit. And I do know one of the things we've submitted on is like a budget for children in the education sector. And because of that, I'm not sure, but I tend to think it's one of the reasons why recently we were actually invited to nominate 2 people from our organization to actually be part of a technical group that is actually supporting the tracking of gender responsive budgeting, which will also include child sensitive budgeting. And I actually have been nominated by my organization to be part of that particular group. So that is actually a privilege, and it's something that I look forward to take on heads on and to work well with it.
It's fascinating how diverse the methods are that you are deploying, also with the knowledge that you've gained over the year with us. That's fascinating. So, and it sounds like you're doing tremendously important work for children in Kenya. If you position yourself again as a student that is actually considering our program, what would be your advice to that very student that is considering to apply and is wondering whether that program should be the program he or she goes to? So what would be your advice to future students?
I think the first thing I would say is apply. Just like take that step of faith and actually apply. Take that chance and apply, because for me, I'd say it's guaranteed to be a game changer, because it was a game changer for me, because I'm actually very sure that to anyone who's applying, it will also be a game changer. And even as they take that, bold step in making that application to Leiden, they should actually, apply and come in, with an open mind, not just to the course content, but to the people that they're actually going to, to meet along the way within the course. Because I feel like the entire LLM, advanced LLM, in children's rights, and that entire experience around it is actually very enriching. And I can actually, guarantee that, whoever applies is actually going to come out, a changed person. They're not going to walk out of the program the same way they walked in. Because I know for a fact I walked out a different person. I walked out better. And I walked out more enlightened, I walked out more confident, and just ready to tackle, any child's rights issue that actually comes my way. So I'm pretty sure that those, actually aspire, aiming to apply, will actually get that very same, same experience, and they'll just be more enlightened, more enriched, more open-minded, to the various broader fields of child rights. And also I can say that while at Leiden, I feel like they should fully, immerse themselves in the course, fully immerse themselves in the Leiden experience as a whole, and just in the Netherlands at large, embrace every aspect of it and just make the most out of it. It's an incredible opportunity.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That is very clear. And that's a very concrete piece of advice to everyone who's considering applying this year or in the years to come. I think this is extremely helpful. Thank you so much, Lisa, for joining us today. And to everyone who has been watching this video, if you want to have any additional information about our LLM program, please don't hesitate to reach out, visit our website, and you can also connect to one of our student buddies who are currently in the program and are there to advise you and to give you more guidance where needed. Thank you once again for watching, and thank you, Lisa, for reconnecting and stay well with all the great work you have been doing so far.